In this position, there was Claude Makelele, Michael Ballack, Michael Essien, Golo Kante. And now in this new generation, you have Moises Caicedo, Declan Rice. These are midfielders that have power, but have the ability to change the game single-handedly by their lonesome. And guess what? Brighton has the next one. That is Carlos Baleba. Now the situation of what Carlos Baleba is doing for Brighton this season, it's not all that every single person should be focused on. We should be focusing on what he did last season. Because what he did last season was breathtaking. It was something that we could not see from a 19-year-old kid. And in that case, this is the reason why Manchester United, this is a must go into the market and get Carlos Baleba. I do not care if he's having a hard season this year. And I'm going to tell you the reasons why Carlos Baleba is perfect. He is the reason and he is the one that should be Manchester United's new number 6 to replace the likes of Casemiro in this team. And let's get this thing started because I can't wait to tell you about Carlos Baleba. Now, we all know Carlos Baleba, Cameroonian, born in Douala, 2004, January. This is a tall guy, someone that can play the center midfield and also the defensive midfield. He is that talented of a kid. Now, the funny thing about Carlos Baleba, he is so good that we are not even scratching the surface of what he could be. That is how good he is. At the age of 19, he already started playing for the Cameroonian national team and starting for them. Now, of course, what we saw this season is things that has gotten into his head, injuries, not having a preseason, and a little bit of a setback in the season. However, let's look back. Let's cast our mind only 12 months ago, even less than that. And let's realize the Carlos Baleba that we are talking about. Now, of course, we know for a fact that Manchester United looked at Carlos Baleba in the summer and literally tried to get him from Brighton. Brighton did not budge. They were not giving up on Carlos Baleba last season. They did not even negotiate, nor did they put a number out there. But one thing is for sure, what was touted in the news outlet was around £100 million to 120. Now, I do not believe that that's what we are going to pay for Carlos Baleba, but I know and I truly believe that Manchester United are still looking at Carlos Baleba as the number one priority in that position. Now, this report has come from Fabrizio Romano, the Don himself, so we do not need to speculate about that. And I'm so glad. So I am here today to tell you guys why Carlos Baleba is the number one priority in the central midfield for Ruben Amorim and for Manchester United. So let's start with his career path, the background, just to give you guys a glimpse of what you guys are looking at in this player. His father was a professional footballer. And if you know anything about African fathers that are professional footballers, it's all about excellence. They are going to push you harder than any coach would. And so he grew up with the excellence or with the demand for excellence in that position. Absolutely a plus in my mind. Born in Douala, Cameroon, another plus in my mind. Anybody that knows the indomitable lions of Cameroon knows that football is running in the veins of those guys. And that right there is something absolutely brilliant. Now, I cannot pronounce the École de Football de Brussels de Cameroon Academy. That's a lot of names for me to pronounce, but I'm going to put it down here so you guys can see it. But he moved to Lille in 2022, January. And that right there was where the magic started. He was in Lille and we started seeing sparks and phases of brilliance. And of course, the scouting giants of Tony Bloom and Brighton Hove Albion went and picked him up ASAP. They were not giving it any chance. They picked him up in August of 2023. And guess what? It was on a long-term 5-year deal. He did not waste any time in showing the Premier League the reason why Brighton Hove Albion picked him up from Lille. Because once he came into the Premier League, the playing style and the role that he was going to play for Brighton absolutely came to fruition. This is an all-round midfielder. Carlos Baleba is very versatile. Very versatile, and I do not use that word very lightly in this situation. He can play the box-to-box midfielder and also a holding defensive midfielder. Now, I truly believe that he is also good enough to be in the final third and actually make the right decision, but I'm not going to classify him as an attacking midfielder because Manchester United does not even play with an attacking midfielder. We play with a double 10, then acts as wingers and situations inwards. We play with two central midfielders that are both inverted in terms of one is a central holding midfielder and one in the box-to-box, determining of where the ball is, where the press is happening, and where the transition is happening. That's what we are seeing. So Carlos Baleba is a perfect fit for this particular role for Ruben Amorim. Someone that has the physical and athletic ability. He is very strong, athletic frame, tall, strong, very good stamina. This is somebody that against Manchester City was moving Erling Haaland like Erling Haaland was not eating those steaks and drinking raw milk at that time. That's what Carlos Baleba was doing against Manchester City last season. He covers a lot of ground. The person that he reminds me of in that situation is N'Golo Kante. Dude runs around the field like as if he has 4 lungs in his system. It is mind-blowing to think about. And then when you think about Ruben Amorim's style of play and characteristics of midfielders or even attackers, you need to be able to carry the ball in different and long spaces. And guess what? Carlos Baleba is a midfielder that has the pace and the dribbling ability of a winger. It is mind-blowing to see. This dude is literally made in a lab for Ruben Amorim. I know it is exciting. And I need you guys to understand, and you can feel the excitement coming out of my voice when I'm speaking about this. He is tailor-made for this situation. This is one of his key strengths. He can drive with the ball, be it to the wings, through the middle, and actually beat his man convincingly. Progressive carries is truly off the charts when it comes to Carlos Baleba. With his movement, his ability on the ball. Did I even mention that he did acrobatics while he was younger in order for him to be able to be stable on the ball and not be shaken easily? It's like the Pops thought about every single thing. But because he's also a defensive midfielder, we cannot forget about his defensive work. Excellent at winning duels. So guess what? I made a video about Angelo Stiller. This is the perfect Gattuso-style midfielder that would fit perfectly with Angelo Stiller. Perfect at winning duels, intercepting, pressing, and contributes heavily in defensive transitions. He's someone I've literally preached a lot about defending in the front foot and defending in the back foot. He's somebody that can do both. Now, he's not as good as defending the front foot because he overcommits in situations. But this is something that you can coach into his game. The dude is just really good. And then you look at his technical ability. Good range passing from both feet, both short and long. Despite not being the flashiest Toni Kroos-like passer, but that's why you have Angelo Stiller. That's why you would have Bruno Fernandes. Those guys can do that until he basically perfects his technique in order for him to be able to do that. And if you notice, there is still a caveat that he can grow into that box-to-box role, that he can grow into a person that can actually be a registrar and dictate play from the position that he is in a deep line position. And then last but not least is his mentality and personality. He is very driven. If you know anything about African players, this is one constant. Emotionally mature for his age. I promise you, this is somebody that has already started becoming a man even before he was technically and officially a man in the letter of the law. He has, of course, spoken about his personal challenges and how he uses them as motivation. There's nothing to not love about this kid. Now let's look at his strengths to be precise about it. You are looking at high work rate, physicality and athleticism, progressive carries, ball recoveries, passing range, mental toughness, and one of the most important for Ruben Amorim, adaptability. I don't need to go into this because I've already just done that in my preface of his strengths. I've literally done an in-depth of that situation. But of course, we can't do a scouting report without talking about his weaknesses and the risk and areas that he needs to improve. First things first is the overcommitment. If there's anything you know about aggressive players and Gattuso style players, is that they overcommit sometimes when it comes to tackles. So you could see in a situation where he needs to hold a player, delay the player's pass, he overcommits, just like Manu Ugarte overcommits most times, and then lets the player pass, or they capitalize on him overcommitting and leaving the space in behind. That's something that he could be coached on. Discipline is another thing. Of course, aggressive players, he could get the likes of yellow cards and even red cards in some games. But you want players like this to play on the edge. You do not want him to literally be sitting ducks and to be tame and to be timid in that midfield role. Consistency. Of course, with many young players, consistency is definitely the key thing that they need to absolutely lock down. And that only comes with experience and time. And that's the best part about it. Growth. Fourth in this situation when it comes to the weakness is the decision making. In tactical systems, he tends to find himself a little bit lost in not knowing what he needs to do. But guess what? Ruben Amorim has already shown us that he can coach his team into understanding his system. And in Ruben Amorim's system, those two midfield players, it is quite simple, the instruction. Keep it going, keep it ticking, keep it switching. It's as simple as that. And if you can carry the ball, even better. But at least this is something that happened this year. Is the pressure of big moves. We already seen it. Manchester United came in last season at the end of the summer, and he wants to join Manchester United, but Brighton is not letting him go. All of a sudden, he starts playing really bad, and he doesn't have the best start to the season. And of course, that shows us that mentally, he had his head turned. But I don't know which player wouldn't. Tell me which player would not have his head turned that Manchester United came in for them and he's 19 years of age. You can't tell me one. This is part of the game. This is part of being a good player, a young player. And the good thing about this is he is only going to get better. When he steps into Manchester United, steps into Carrington and realize the magnitude and adjust to the magnitude, he will start acting and start being like he's there because he has arrived. And of course, there's always a step to go forward. So why big clubs like Manchester United might be after him? He is a complete midfielder. There's no doubt about it. Someone that combines physical power, technical skills, and tactical intelligence. His ceiling absolutely skyrockets. It is a skyrocketing situation. The ceiling for Carlos Baleba, sky onwards. That's how good he can be. Strategic fit, he fits Manchester United to a glove. That's how good the dude is. That's how great he can be. That's how excellent he is. And then when you look at the modern profile, clubs value players like this. Someone that is physical, someone that is not passive, somebody that is adaptable, someone that presses, recovers, and carries the ball or even pass in this system is a very modern style of football. And there's nothing that wouldn't fit in this situation. So guys, let me know what you guys think about Carlos Baleba down in the comments. Make sure you let me know who you would want Manchester United to partner with him. Is it Angelo Stiller? Is it Elliot Anderson? Is it Adam Wharton? Let me know down in the comments because I want to hear from you guys. And make sure you guys turn on your notification, hit that like button, and tell YouTube that you love what Pillar Sports gives to you by hitting that subscribe button. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.